What's up, guys, and welcome to the first official episode of the Fast and Furious podcast. This is our second take, but it's gonna be the first time you guys watch it because I was talking and my mic was not picking up anything. It's I'm pretty sure it's my Blue Yeti mic right here picking it up. I'm not sure if it's this one or that one, but anyways, guys, we started this podcast because I am a huge Fast and Furious fan, and I've been getting her into Fast and Furious. And like I said, I have been watching Fast and Furious like ever since I was like little, man. Like I've watched every single movie about 100 times, and she's only been watching it for a little bit, maybe like maybe for I don't know when was the first time you watched the first movie? It's because okay,
I don't even know. As of recently, probably.
and hear me out.
Something
When I first started dating her, she did not want to watch these Fast and the Furious movies, so I was always watching them
I did.
alone.
I don't remember
Yeah,
that.
I remember because I would always ask her, "Let's watch these Fast and the Furious movies." She was like, "No, I don't like action movies." You don't remember that? Like you're like, "I don't like action movies."
I
Anyways,
I do remember not liking action movies, but like for that specific like the series, I don't know.
yeah,
If
and and then one time I was watching, I think it was the first one or the fourth one, and or the fifth one. It was one of those, and it was a scene where Mia and Brian. I don't know if well, obviously, if you guys are watching this, you guys like Fast and Furious, but Mia and Brian, they were like talking, and they're like kind of being like romantic with each other, not like not in that way, but like they like you can tell that they liked each other. And so that's how she got interested because she likes those type of movies. She likes like romance and things like that. So that's how she got interested because she saw that and she was like, oh, like she kept asking me questions about them, like, oh, how did they meet? This and that, like this and that, like you know what I'm saying?
and then you would try to explain everything, and you would get
I
you
know.
get irritated to explain everything
It's just that she
because
would.
everything was out of order. You said
Yeah, like I was
like
watching the
so
fifth.
much to.
Yeah, like I would be watching the fifth one, and she would ask me so many questions about the fifth one, like how did they meet? How did they do this? But all that happened in the first one. So I would have to explain everything from the first movie to the fifth movie for her to understand why everything is happening in these movies. And that's one thing about me, guys. Like I know everything about these movies. Like I can literally argue with somebody about the movies. And that's another thing about this podcast. I'm not making this podcast to argue with anybody or to like to be mean to anybody. I'm making this podcast because I feel like there's a lot to be said with Fast and the Furious. And um, I was already saying this, but like we were like me and my girlfriend would be scrolling through Instagram reels, and then there'd be so many times where I would see a Fast and the Furious clip, and in the comments somebody would be like, "Oh, I'm tired of all this superhero stuff. Like the best movie was the fifth movie because it wasn't like superheroes." Like it just I have a lot to say about those comments, and like like from this podcast, I'm gonna have different guests, whether it's random people or like someone from my family to like not argue with me, but to like see their point of view, and I'm gonna tell them my point of view. Like we're gonna go. Like I don't know if you guys seen like NBA analysis where they argue back and forth about who's the best player or about like things like that. I'm here to argue my point of Fast and Furious because I feel like I am the biggest Fast and Furious fan like ever. Like I feel like, and it's not even just because of the movies; it's because of the actors. Like these actors, like I don't know. It's just a whole stuff to talk about. But I'm gonna let you talk a little bit about like your experience and what you think about like these comments and these videos and things like that. Yeah.
I think I really liked the what is it? The is it Too Fast Too Furious? The
Oh,
one
with
where
Suki,
Brian teams up with no, not that. Never mind, not that one. The one where Brian teams up with that one guy.
the black guy.
Yeah,
Roman, yeah, that's Too Fast and Furious. It's the race one, right?
yeah.
When yeah, that's
Oh
that.
yeah, no, that is the same movie,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, that's the same movie. Yeah,
I like that one, and I like Tokyo Drift. I feel like that those two were like the best. I don't know. I really like the fashions and like
yeah.
the earlier ones because I
Yeah,
like the early 2000s clothing and
yeah.
everything. So I might be biased. I don't know. I to an extent I agree because I feel like initially the movies were mostly like about the cars, like or at least they made it seem that way. So then I feel like to kind of add in like now like some of this stuff is kind of unrealistic. I don't know, just I can see sort of like how some people get like thrown aback, like Cause like something that Dom does like in the later movies, it's like there's no way like he would like survive that. And I know you don't agree, but
Okay, and
I
like
don't to an extent I agree.
okay, and like here's the thing, another thing, like I am like I was telling her that I am about my business when it comes to my opinions, but I when there's something to be agreed with, like I'm gonna agree with you. Like I will agree that sometimes Dom those things are like it's unrealistic. I understand that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time
Yeah.
at the same time at the same time it's a movie. You know what I mean? Like you'll see people watch Transformers, but when the heck is a car ever gonna transform into a robot? You know what I mean?
But the thing is that these movies, like those movies, were unrealistic from the start. Like those are fiction, but I feel like the Fast and the Furious series started off more like realistic,
Okay, that's
and
okay.
then it get really unrealistic towards the
Okay,
end.
and
It's not
that
that it's a bad series because I like it, but you know,
okay, and honestly, that is a good point that a lot of people make. Is that it originally started as about all about cars, and it ended up being like about superhero stuff, and I understand that. Okay, so here's where we're gonna start like not arguing, but we're gonna start talking about that topic. Okay, because a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, hold up. A lot of people will be like, yeah, it started off as just about cars. Okay, I'm gonna say their exact comment. Okay, I liked the first movie the best because it was about cars. After the
hmm
fifth movie, it started becoming about superhero stuff. That's what everybody's argument is. Okay, and
hmm
let me tell you guys something. Okay, I was in school today and I encountered one of those comments, and I was so tempted to just like put a whole essay in that comment section. Like I know I was gonna get a bunch of hate if I were to like comment on that, but it's just facts. Like I have okay, so that is their argument, right? So here's my argument, okay? A lot of people say that it's about cars from the beginning. But if you really think about it, since the beginning of the franchise, it's always been about family. Yes, I understand that they've implemented really cool cars, whether it's like the Nissan 240SX, the one that Letty drove, whether it's the Acura Integra that Mia drove, or the R34 that Brian drove, any of those cars, or even the infamous Supra. Like everybody likes the Supra because Brian drove the Supra. Like
yeah,
you have to admit that, like that's the main reason why everyone loves the Supra because that he drove it. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand like they implemented a lot of cars into and why it's called Fast and the Furious because it's about cars. You know what I'm saying? But if you really dig deep into like the actual franchise, it's not just about cars. Now let me give you an example. Right in the first movie, Brian was a cop. If you really think about the main objective of the first movie, it was really about a cop and like a criminal. Brian was a cop and Dom was a criminal.
hmm
Dom and Brian were both street racers. That's what they had in common. But it wasn't the entire movie. You know what I'm saying? That
yeah,
movie was about the relationship with Dom and Brian and how a cop came to be friends with like a professional criminal. You know what I mean? Like yes, they
yeah,
implemented really cool cars, but that wasn't the main part of it. Like it really wasn't. Like just because they were street racers doesn't mean that they were. That's the whole franchise. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. But would the story be the same without those cars?
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like it wouldn't. And like, but that's why it's called Fast and the Furious, and not just called Fast. You don't just call it Fast. It's Fast and the Furious. And I'm gonna be honest. Like I don't know why it's called Fast and the Furious. But if I were to guess, it's because someone's always messing with Dom's family, and he doesn't like that. Like he likes to protect his family. You know what I mean? So I feel like just because they implemented these cars, that's not the whole basis of the movie. Like I don't think that when they filmed that movie, the whole point was to be like, oh, like these cars are dope as hell. Like we're gonna put these in so that people like we're all about cars. I don't think that's what they meant to do. Maybe they did. Like I said in the beginning, I'm not like I'm gonna stand by my business until I'm proven wrong. Show me a video clip of the director saying that they wanted it to be about cars mainly, and I'll admit that I'm wrong. But I don't think that it's a bad, or like it changed super, like, okay. Anyway, so the first movie was about how Brian, being a cop, became friends with a professional criminal. Okay, and that's how they became like literally a family. Okay, at the end of the first movie, Brian lets Dom leave. Right, he lets Dom leave in his car because he, like, like Dom had crashed or whatever, so he didn't have a car. So Brian let Dom leave. Okay,
Yeah.
that was the end of the first movie, and I can understand why people are like, okay, that movie is mainly about cars. I can understand that. I really understand that. You know what I'm saying? But if we transition to the second movie, okay, you cannot say that that movie is mainly about cars. You just can't. I understand the first scene of the second movie was a street race, but after that, it was mainly about like Brian and Roman Pierce. Like, they were both trying to capture this drug dealer that was importing and exporting hella drugs. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't just about cars in that movie. Like, there, like, again, there was really cool cars, but there
Yeah.
wasn't. It wasn't all about the cars. You know what I mean? The point of
Yeah.
that movie was for Brian and Roman to team up together and capture the drug dealer. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what I feel like. But yeah, I mean, what do you have to say about that?
I don't know. I feel like if I wonder like what would happen if they did the movie, but like it had nothing to do with cars. It was just like the storyline. I wonder if that would do as good.
Yeah,
I feel like the movie wouldn't be what it was without the cars. Like, and it's not that it was like it's like the bad storyline. Like, I think it was a really good storyline, but I feel like the cars like really like added a lot.
yeah,
Because I feel like a lot of like guys really like cars, like especially the '90s cars. So then when you have like the whole like brotherhood aspect, and then you throw in the cars too, it was like I feel like it was really smart like to start the franchise because I feel like there was nothing really like that at the time
yeah,
when Fast and Furious first came out.
yeah. And honestly, like, I do agree. Like, I feel like the cars is what made Fast and Furious. But again, I feel like the director wasn't like, oh, let's put in these cars for it to be the main part of our franchise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the main part of that franchise was a family. Like a street racing family. I think that's what the main part was. Like a family that bonds over street racing. But I feel like the fact that it blew up over the cars is what makes people think that it's all about cars.
Yeah, I do think like social media and like people recreate the Fast and the Furious cars, like they rap it
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
That influenced the whole like I don't know what the word is, not like the culture of like maybe just like the car scene in general.
Yeah. And
Like a lot of people probably just started watching it like just for the cars, like not really
exactly.
for the
Exactly.
story.
That was my next point. That was my next point. Is that people watch this movie or these movies just so they can see cool cars or like the street racing parts of it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
people don't wanna people like, okay, for example, you go to the movies and let's say you're getting bored of the movie, right? But then like some action starts happening. Then you're interested because it's an action part. You know what I mean? Like, I
Hmm.
feel like that's what most people do with these movies. They'll watch the movie just for the racing parts. They don't watch it when Dom's talking to Brian. They don't watch it when Dom's talking to, like The Rock, or when anything that has nothing to do with the racing happens. I feel like they just watch it just for the cars. You know what I'm saying? But like I said,
Yeah.
if you really think about it, it's not just for the cars. It's about like family. And I know a lot of people make fun of Dom because he's always saying like family, but that just proves my point. He's always talking about family. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, he's a car head, yes, all that, but if you really think about it, or if you've watched the movie, I don't know if like many of you have watched like all the movies. Dom's dad was a racer. That's why Dom is so into cars. You know what I mean? But his main priority is his family. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people
Yeah.
like you said, a lot of people watch this movie just for the cars, and it makes no like. to some extent it does piss me off. Like it really does piss me off because they kind of really like not ruin it, but they kind of like how do you call it? Like belittle the 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 franchise itself. You know what I mean? Like I said, they
Like they don't accept it for what it is.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. They don't accept it. Like they see the first movie about the cars. They see the second movie. They see the GTR in the second movie, and they instantly think like, oh, this is about cars. Now, bringing Tokyo Drift, I think that's when it really like set into the audience like this is about cars. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Especially that one, because I feel like
Yeah.
that one really. I feel like another thing people need to remember is like, okay, although I agree about like the whole superhero stuff, I think another thing is like people have to understand like they couldn't like okay, movies nowadays like a lot of people expect to have a lot of like CGI and like
Hmm.
all these special effects and like I feel like people's attention spans are also like really like what is it like
Like
less
small, like
than
really
it
small.
used to be. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it's like small. Cause like everyone's used to like just scrolling on social media, like
Hmm.
they get bored easy. So I feel like you can't blame the producer for adding in like some like scenes
Exactly.
that are unrealistic because like we're moving on with the times and like
Exactly.
I think that like people honestly like would get bored if there wasn't scenes like that.
Exactly. No, literally.
People expect it because every other movie is like that as well. So
Exactly. That's literally what I was thinking because you have to be realistic here, okay? Like you have all these other movies. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you have like let's say like you have Transformers and like you even have horror movies that are like action packed. You know, like not
mhm.
action as in like superhero action, but there's a lot of fucking killing scenes there. There's a lot of killing scenes in horror movies. You know what I'm saying? Like compared to all these other action movies, Fast and the Furious is competing with them only because, like you said, they have a lot more CGI till now. If you guys can name me one person that has recently watched the first Fast and the Furious in the past 6 months, I would hand in hand argue with him about about why Fast and the Furious is still good because people are always like, oh, the first Fast and the Furious was the best one, so why don't you still watch it? Because you just want to watch it for the racing scenes. That's all you watch it for. You don't watch it for the franchise. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, I feel like when it first came out, it was good. Like, when did it first come out? Like the early 2000s or like,
2001,
yeah.
2001.
So I feel like for that time, like they weren't used. That was like before like all this like crazy special effects and everything. It was like good for the time,
Hmm.
but I feel like if they did them like that now, like I said, like I feel like people would just get kind of like bored with it and it would like fall off.
Yeah, and I do agree with that. That's a great point. Like people need to realize that we're in a time now where people's attention spans are super small, like you said, and they won't pay attention to a movie if it's as slow as the first Fast and Furious. And you know me, I hate slow movies. Like I hate slow movies. Like I need to watch a movie that's action packed. But because I'm so like obsessed with Fast and Furious, I can watch the first movie because I actually understand what's going on and I can like not relate to them, but like it's dope to me what they do in the first movie. I don't watch it
Yeah.
because I like the racing, which I do like cars. I don't know if you guys can see that poster right there. Like it's like Supra and RX-7. Like my girlfriend made that for me because I'm obsessed with this shit. Like I like Fast and Furious. You know, like I don't just watch it for the racing stuff. You know what I mean? And it just it like I said, it pisses me off that people just watch it for the racing stuff, and it just makes no sense. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
do you have anything else to
Did
say
you
about that topic?
did you tell them you're even going to school for cars too?
Oh yeah, like I'm even going to school for car, and I've been wanting to go to school for cars for a while now, but like some stuff happened, and it actually made like I didn't want to like I wanted to go to school for it, but I didn't at first after high school. But after some stuff happened with my car, I decided I'm just gonna go to the school and pay it off myself because like I just and I feel like a lot of it has to do with Fast and the Furious. Like you really can't like deny that. Like I always watch this movie, guys. Like I'm always into these movies. Like just today, I was watching Fast and Furious, the 10th one. You know, and
Yeah.
it just kind of like it kind of puts me in a place where I want to be like them. You know what I'm saying? Like not doing like all this government stuff, but like you remember when I told you like I even want to be like a cop. I even want to be like an FBI agent. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like it inspires me. Like it's not just a movie to me. Like it really does inspire me. And you can make fun of me all you want. Like if you can argue with me and you can actually make me feel like damn, like this fool is right. Like if you can make me feel like you're right, then props to you. You're probably a bigger fan than me. But I can guarantee you like there's like minimal people that can do that. You know what I mean? And that's because I'm 19. There's probably people that's out there that have been watching this movie for even longer. You know what I mean? That are way bigger fans and they're older than me. You know what I'm saying? But I even have like, dude, like, and I don't mean to like, I don't mean to like make you feel bad about this. Like, I actually like this about you. Like, every single occasion, whether it be like Valentine's Day or my birthday or Christmas, she'll always get me something that involves Fast and Furious. Like, always, it'll be a Hot Wheel, it'll be a Lego, it'll be a shirt. Like anything that involves Fast and Furious, she'll always get me something just because like I love Fast and Furious. You know what I mean? And like yeah, like I said, man, if you guys can find anybody that can actually like argue with me about this, then I am so down for it. Cause like I'm not here to like like cause conflict on anybody, but I'm just here to prove my point against the world that these movies did not fall off. Like if you really pay attention to the the franchise, like it did not fall off. They're still doing what it was made for. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
but yeah. Before we move on to the next topic, though, do you have anything else to say?
No,
Right,
I think I'm
right now we're now mainly talking about like those comments and things like that, and like the first
good.
movie and how like it upped and you know how like how not upgraded but like how it like um moved on or whatever, like how it, things like that. So this is the next topic right here that I like the next argument I want to bring up about that is that the main so like I want to kind of back up my opinion to where I say like Fast and the Furious is about family more than
Hmm.
it is about street racing. And if you take that like if you take that into account and actually like think about it and like you kind of watch the movies all over again, like you will see why it's about family. Like realist like I need people to understand why it's about family. Like okay, let me bring you back to the first movie. Okay? In the first movie, it was a cop, which was Brian, and a professional criminal. In what world are those two people gonna like come together? Realistically, in the real world, it's not gonna happen. Like people always talk about it's unrealistic, but come on, realistically, in the first movie, like when is that gonna happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you guys want to talk
Or
about
like when he get away in his car.
exactly, like if you guys want to talk about unrealism, like I'm here for it. Like I'm here for anything. Like I've never been I've never been able to stand on business bigger than about these movies, and it just come to a point where I'm just pissed off for it. Like, okay, like I said, it's about family because like it's about a cop and a criminal that come together, and they become like friends and like family and that whatever. Okay, so when that happens in the first movie, obviously Dom figures out that he's a cop and he doesn't like that,
Mhm.
and we're kind of left like on a cliffhanger, like oh what happened to Dom or what's gonna happen to Brian and things like that, and that's where the Too Fast Too Furious prelude comes in. You remember the prelude, the 6 minute clip I
Yeah.
showed you? So that's where that comes in, but that's a whole different story because that just shows you like how it goes from the first movie to the second movie. You know what I mean? Now that's just the first movie. Like I will agree with you where the first movie is really a lot about cars. I will agree with you. Okay, now let's move to the second movie. Okay, in the second movie, it's Brian and Roman, and they try to capture
Yeah.
like the drug dealer. Now if you are like, I'm not talking about you. I'm not like I'm talking about like other people. Like if someone really looks me dead in the eye and tells me that the second movie is all about cars, you are out of your mind. Because it is not just about cars. It is about like two friends trying to do things to get their their record clears. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like if anything, like they rekindled their friendship because they weren't cool
Exactly.
until yeah.
But hear me out. Hear me out. Do you think that the franchise would have brought back all those fast, cool cars if that those cars weren't a hit? It like if the Supra wasn't a hit in the first movie, if the RX-7 wasn't a hit in the first movie, you think they would have brought back fast cars into the second movie, like those cool cars? And you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like they brought those cool, like for example, in the second movie they had the GTR, they had the Evo, they had two Evos actually. Like they just have a bunch of cool cars. You know, they have like the Mustangs, the BMWs, and shit like that. Like I genuinely think they brought that back because it was it was like the reason why Fast and the Furious really took off.
Mhm.
That because of those fast cars. You know what I mean? But again, that was not the main purpose of the movie. And I feel like they executed it really, really well. You know what I'm saying? Like they implemented these fast cool cars. They implemented like the fact that Brian is a really good driver. You know how Brian is like the best driver in the world. You know what I'm saying? And like it's they did it really well. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why I like these movies because it has some type of realism, but not to the point where you know like it's like what are the odds like of a corrupted cop going back? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And pulling off a mission that includes fast, cool cars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the second
I
movie.
will say I don't think Brian is faster than Dom.
I would disagree with that one.
No, I don't think
but
so
that
because
look
he always loses.
okay.
And then I just I feel like Dom is way more experienced than Brian. I feel like Brian is more of like a car enthusiast, but Dom like knows the car
No,
like
I agree.
well.
I agree. I feel like Dom is a good driver because, like I said, his dad was a race car driver. Like, if your dad's a race car driver and you're not a good driver, bro, you know, like what in what world does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? And I agree with you. And I feel like Brian is this car crazy. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
he just loves them. Like he's so passionate about it. But Dom only likes it. He grew up around it. You know what I mean? So they kind of have
Yeah.
both different things. And I do understand why you think that he's a better driver, but I think in crucial situations, I would probably pick Brian over Dom. In
I don't
crucial situations, just,
I don't
I think that. But let's not um like I got like move out of track here. Let's stay on track and then we can argue about that because I do want to argue about that. I really do. I really do. Okay, so that was saying okay. That's the second movie. Okay, now the first three movies, I will admit, they're kind of weird because they're all different storylines. They're all different
Mhm.
things. You know what I mean? I don't want to talk about Too Fast. I mean Tokyo Drift yet, just because that has nothing to do with it in chronological order. You know what I mean? If you think about
I
it,
will say Tokyo Drift was kind of weird, like, cause like they had us like with these original characters in the first and second movie, and then
mm-hmm,
they just threw some random
uh
stuff into
huh.
the third. I feel like that was weird because they didn't really explain it either.
It was weird, but you gotta admit
I
what.
was like, I don't know how that like connected. Well, I guess because of Han, but
But you had
yeah, I
to,
don't know.
but you had to admit though, you had to admit that um after watching the sixth movie, you understood why Tokyo Drift was a thing.
Hmm.
Do you remember why?
No.
You don't
Oh
remember?
wait, yeah,
You,
because Han died,
yeah, but do you
and
know who
then
killed
Dom
Han?
went to go with it.
You know who killed Han, right?
I forgot.
It was Shaw, the bald guy, the bald British guy.
Oh,
Because
hmm.
remember in the sixth movie, how Dom and his crew went to go kill this other British guy?
Hmm.
And in the seventh one, there was a bald British guy. His name was Decker Shaw. That was his big brother. And
Yeah.
and and after that, you know, like Dom's crew went to go like kill or not kill, but like kind of hurt like the little brother. He felt some type of way. You know what I'm saying? So that's when Deckard Shaw, the bald guy, went to Tokyo and killed Han, and that's where the third movie
But I
comes in.
thought that he faked his death.
That
So like
I
I
know,
I
He
didn't finish
did.
watching this
I know.
yet, so
He no
that's why I'm asking that.
no, he did. He did. But it's crazy. Like once you watch the 10th movie, it's so crazy how
I
he
know.
comes back.
Which one are we on, the eighth one?
We finished the 8th one, didn't we?
Probably. So then we're on the ninth.
Yeah, we're on the ninth, dude. A lot of people think,
So
like
it's
I'm telling you,
really
I know, but I'm telling, like a lot of people think that these movies are so like trash, but dude, it's so cool how they like really like bring back
connected.
exactly how they connect all these movies together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I will say it. I imagine it would be really hard to like, like take something from the early 2000s and then somehow connect it back like what, like almost more than 15 years later. And I
Literally,
will say do it like really seamlessly.
exactly.
You got to give it to him.
Yeah, and okay, so we're not gonna talk about Tokyo Drift just yet, but let's go back. Let's go to the fourth movie. Okay, the fourth movie is like a whole new restart, right? Brian doesn't know where Dom's at, and Dom doesn't know where Brian's at, but they come together because Letty dies. Okay,
Yeah.
this is where it starts to get like okay, it really is about family. Okay,
Mhm.
because okay, Dom goes. Dom finds out that Letty's dead. Okay, Brian, I don't know if you guys know, but Brian is the reason why Letty dies. Because she doesn't really die, but Letty dies, right? Because Dominic or Dom Vin Diesel, he was wanted in so many areas, right? So in the beginning of the movie, Dom told Letty, "I'm gonna go missing for a while because I don't want you to be in the same danger that I am." Okay, so Dom leaves or whatever, right? Once Dom leaves, this is behind the scenes. What I'm gonna say, Letty goes to Brian and she's like, if I do this mission with you to capture this cartel member, will you clear Dom's name? And Brian said, yeah, we'll clear Dom's name if you let us, if you help us capture this drug dealer, which his name was Braga. Okay, Braga is this like very big drug dealer that just he's like a cartel member, like for the Mexican cartel. So so they both try to capture them. Letty dies. Boom. Right? Vin Diesel finds out that Letty dies, and Brian is still on the mission to catch that cartel member. So now they're both trying to find this cartel member, and they gotta act like they don't know each other. You know what I'm saying? Because Brian's a cop, and Dom knows that. And Vin Diesel's not supposed to be there because Vin
Mhm.
Diesel is not trying to work for them. Vin Diesel is trying to kill them because they killed Letty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, since that is the whole point of the fourth movie, which is to get revenge for Letty, right? Vin Diesel does that because he loves Letty, which was a family member to him. If Letty didn't die, none of these movies, like, I mean, sorry, that fourth movie would not have been the fourth movie because Letty,
It would have changed the course of everything.
exactly. If you really think about it now, it starts to get more about family. Now, ever since Letty had went to Brian to capture this cartel member, uh, that's when it all kind of started to become this superhero stuff, as everybody in the world
Yeah.
likes to say. You know what I mean? So, anyways, Letty's dead in the fourth movie. In the fifth movie, it kind of takes a whole different track, like sidetrack. And that fifth movie, they rob a bank. They and it all happens because it's another like kind of like drug dealer type guy, but this time it's in Brazil. It's not in Mexico, it's in Brazil. Right? So this drug dealer has all these cash houses, and so the reason why they want to rob this guy is cuz his name is Reyes. The reason why they want to rob Reyes, which is he has like $100 million in the bank, is cuz they had a job they had a job opportunity, and so one of Reyes' workers told like Dom and them, and they kind of sabotaged, like Reyes' workers sabotaged for Dom and Brian, for them to get their money too. I'm just briefly saying this because I can't go into detail because I'm not saying we're running out of time, but I want to keep it like kind of like in an hour or something like that. So, anyways, yeah. So that happens, right? And that's when they're like, damn, like we need money. We need to do something, because we're kind of f now. Like,
Like at that point, like they just knew that they were wanted. They didn't even like want to
exactly,
try.
exactly. Like
Yeah,
they were
just like
wanted,
whatever
like they were
money.
wanted by the government and by a cartel. You know what I mean? Like there's no in between. So at this point, they're like, you know what? Like we need a fresh start. We need to just get hella money, get out of here, and just start a new life. And that's exactly what they do. They rob Reyes, because he has a lot of money. They rob Reyes, and they start their life. Now, in this movie, you guys are probably thinking, oh, how is this movie related to family? Real simple. Brian has a kid. Well, he doesn't have a kid yet, but Brian's girl is pregnant. Mia's pregnant. You know what I'm saying? He needs money. He can't get a job because he's wanted. Like he has the cartel going for him. Like he needs money. And so they come up with this crazy idea to rob Reyes because they had botched their initial job to get their money. You know what I mean? And that's when they're like, we have family, we have this and that. Like, we need to rob this bank. Like, we're gonna do it because first of all, fuck this guy, and second of all, like we need it, type stuff. Like, they can't go back to L.A. at all, so their L.A. house is doomed. Okay, so
They
so
can't even go back to the U.S. in general.
exactly, and and if you guys watch the fifth movie, in the fifth movie, he says they're having a barbecue. While they're trying to, plan the heist, and Vin Diesel says, "This is what he says. It's not my words. It's his." Okay, he literally says, "The most important thing in life right now is the people in this room," and it was everybody. It was like Han, like as you can see in the background, it was Han. It was and that's another thing. You guys want to talk about?
Now,
You guys want to talk about unrealism? The Rock, the FBI's literally biggest like Brian said, dude. When the FBI wants to catch somebody, they send him because he catches everybody.
and now they're friends.
Exactly. Like if you guys want to talk about unrealism, like I can talk about this all day. Like how is that realistic? And I'm not against it. I like these movies. I really do like these movies. I'm just saying this
Not to mention, he would not agree to rob the bank with them.
exactly. Like
Yeah.
it's and the only reason why he agrees to rob the bank is because while The Rock had captured Vin Diesel, they got ambushed by the cartel, and
Hmm.
it killed two of The Rock's friends or like coworkers or like other army people, things like that. And that's why The Rock was like, you know what, I'm in this with you until we kill that guy, because that guy killed two of my friends. I'm not gonna let that happen. You know what I'm saying? And that's another reason why this movie is about family, because The Rock joined Vin Diesel because he killed his family. You know what I mean? It was so sad. Like they killed it. It wasn't actually his family, but when you work with somebody and you capture people for a living with somebody else, you're gonna grow with them. You're gonna feel like, oh, this guy's my homie. Like he's my brother. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why The Rock joined Vin Diesel. And if you guys still don't think that this franchise is about family in this point in the podcast, you have something wrong in your brain. No, seriously, like seriously. And okay, and like I said, in that movie, it's about robbing the bank. But again, they implement really cool cars. They implemented the blue Porsche. Remember the blue Porsche they implemented in it?
Hmm.
The
That
two,
was cool.
yeah, the two Chargers when they actually robbed the bank. There's a bunch of cool cars in that movie. You know what I mean? And and that's when like now you have now you have the Rock and the cartel going two cartels going after you, because you have the Mexican cartel and you have the Brazilian cartel and you have the Rock going after you rob the bank. And the end of the movie, the Rock goes, "You have 24 hours until I go looking for you again, right?" And that's when like Brian and Vin Diesel go to a whole different country, and they settle their lives down or whatever. Now let's get into the sixth movie. This
Hmm.
movie is where I feel like people are like it comes into superhero stuff. Okay, but let me explain why it doesn't. Okay, okay, so that Letty's dead. Okay, in the sixth movie, in the sixth movie, And I feel like this is a really good way to implement, like you said, like the new CGI, the new like the new wave of things, you know, with still having that fundamental of the the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So Letty dies or whatever, right? And in the sixth movie, The Rock goes to Vin Diesel and he goes, "I have something to show you. Letty's alive." Point blank period. Like Letty's alive. So they talk about it, and now Vin Diesel gets the whole team together, and apparently Letty is working for the biggest British kind of like not cartel, like how would you explain it? Like they're criminals, like
Just working with the other side.
exactly like working with it's like the people that Letty are working with, they have like they're really smart and really good at what they do. They do big jobs, they do very big heists. You know, like that's what they do for a living, and that's who Letty's working for. And that's how all this superhero stuff gets into this because Letty's working for damn near a whole ass other government. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
these guys are that powerful that and this is where Owen Shaw comes in. The you know the British not the bald British guy, but the other British guy, the one in the sixth movie, you know?
Yeah.
Owen Shaw is damn near a whole government himself. He has every cop in London in his pockets. He does. You know what I'm saying? Like he he has all these paid cops under his belt that he's in control of London at this point. You know what I mean? The only reason why Dom agrees to help Vin Diesel, I mean, Dom agrees to help The Rock capture these criminals is because Letty's working for them.
Yeah.
And he knows that if Letty's alive, that's all that matters. You know what I'm saying? And that's another point where this is where like these movies are about family. He's doing this just to get Letty back, his wife, the person he grew up with. You know, like he's in love with Letty. He would do anything for Letty. You know what I mean? And after at the end of the sixth movie, yeah, like they come back together or whatever, you know. But I feel like that movie was the
Sorry,
point. It's
ten
done.
percent.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll close it out right now. It's on. It's on. It's a little bit. But like I was saying, like I feel like that's the movie where people were like, okay, um, this is superhero things now. Like you know, like
Yeah.
flying out of cars, stopping tanks, stopping these big planes. You know, like you wouldn't
Yeah,
see
I will
this.
say the part where he jumps over the bridge
Yeah,
and like that was a little bit much. I don't I don't know. I just feel like that was a little bit much. But I know that's probably controversial for some people.
for some people, you're standing right in front of them. It's controversial for me. Now hear me out. And one of the most recent movies, I know you haven't watched it, but Dom says, "I don't care about dying. I just care about protecting my family." So
But he didn't dies anyway.
I know, but I genuinely feel like that's why. I genuinely feel like that's why he does the things that he do, because he doesn't care about dying. He just cares about and his excuse or his reasoning is because he puts it all on faith. You know, like he has faith. That's why. And yeah, like if you go into the seventh movies and the eighth movie, like it's a lot of government stuff. I will say that it's a lot of government stuff, but there's a reason why it's government stuff because The Rock is a part of the government, and The Rock trusts Vin Diesel, and The Rock knows what Vin Diesel and his team can do. You know what I mean? They're just a bunch of street racers, but the fact that Vin Diesel is so much about family, he would do anything to protect his family. And with that, The Rock knows like I can trust this guy because he's not gonna let me down.
Yeah.
As long as his family is involved, Vin Diesel will not let The Rock down. That's it. That's you know what I mean. And it's just it's a whole like it's a whole bunch of other things that like I can talk about. But like I said, I don't want to make this this episode too long or I want to like 45 minutes to an hour is pretty cool. Like I've been recording for about like 45 minutes now, and but yeah, like that was my main point of this first episode
Yeah.
was to let it be
To
known.
get all of this like debunked or
Yeah,
whatever.
like kind of like cleared, like just like kind of like everybody thinks that it's about this superhero stuff, but if you stop being fake fans and you actually watch the movie,
Saying
no,
calling you guys out.
like if you guys stop being fake fans, like, you would actually understand what these movies are about. You know what I'm saying? Like I started watching Fast and the Furious with I think it was the fifth one. I think the fifth one was like the first ever movie I ever saw, and that's when I got really interested in it. But I was never kind of like, oh, like I don't like these movies no more because it's about, like these guys are jumping out of planes. These guys are, like, doing all this stuff. No, I've never been like that because I know what these movies are about. You know what I mean? And you were like that at first, like like she didn't like these movies, and I don't know why. Like these are the best movies ever created. I feel like Fast and Furious.
I don't understand them.
That what?
I didn't understand them at first.
Oh, I no, honestly, like I said, like the first three movies are hard to understand. They're not even like they have nothing to do with each other. The first three movies, you know what I mean? The first one was about in LA. The second one was in Miami, and the third one was in Tokyo. Like, it just
Hmm.
makes no sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fact that they came out like 10 years apart, like the first one came out in 2001, and the second one and third one came out in 2009. Like dude, 8 years. You have people waiting for 8 years. You know what I'm saying? And like, these movies just make no correlation until the fourth one. But
Hmm.
I feel like the fourth one is when it starts to get kind of like, oh, like like, oh, I don't like these movies no more because this and that. When in reality, man, like you're just a fake fan. Like that's just it. Like I don't know, man. Like a lot of these people like want to believe that they're really big fans of Fast and the Furious, but they're not. Like realistically, like they're not. Like it just kind of like I don't know how to explain it. Like
Like they're picking and choosing.
yeah, like they just kind of they want to say that they're Fast and Furious fans, but they don't want to accept what Fast and the Furious is. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I don't even think that they changed the whole concept of Fast and the Furious. Obviously, like I said, they changed the whole aspect of like the whole like like all this action and things like that. But I don't think they changed the base of
Hmm.
Fast and the Furious, which is what I can give props to. You know what I mean? Like like I don't know. What percentage your phone on now?
I know. I'm checking.
Oh, she's
Eight.
frozen. She's frozen. Oh, okay.
8%.
All right. But yeah, man. I don't know. Like I said, this is only the first episode, guys. Like if anyone ever has like any questions, put it in the comments and I will address. Like I will like I feel like I'm a master at this stuff. I feel like I can answer any question that you guys put in the comments, and I'll have an answer for you guys. But we're still gonna talk about like what we think is gonna happen in the next movie coming out in 2026. We're gonna talk about like the different individual movies, what happens in the movies, why it happens in the movies, things like that. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, like I said, we'll have special guests sometimes, and I like I said, she's barely starting. She's barely starting to watch these movies, so she hasn't watched all of them, but I have watched all of them, so I'm pretty informed. Um, but yeah, guys, if you guys want her to come back, like even though she's not, I mean she's not that knowledgeable, but like I don't mind like answering any questions or answering like anything
Or
about
maybe they
anything.
can leave us comments
Yeah,
and we can like answer them.
yeah, exactly. Like just leave us comments and we'll answer. We'll answer them. Like I mean, if realistically, I'm not trying to sound mean or anything, but like you would probably ask me questions too. So I feel like if you guys you argue with me, like you can literally argue with me, like that, like that's the point of this part. Like like if you want to tell me your part of how you feel, then just tell me. Like like I won't discredit it just because like oh you've only watched one movie. You know what I mean? Like just because you watched one movie doesn't mean anything. Like you can have an opinion still. Like at least you watched it. You know what I mean? Like I said, there's some people that just literally go on YouTube and they just watch the racing scenes. Like they don't even watch the whole movie and stuff like that. But man, but I think that this was a good first episode. I mean, what do you think? Do you have any final thoughts or what?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we covered everything. I know you've been waiting to do this
Yeah,
podcast
I
for
really,
a while.
I really
Just
have
he's
it.
been waiting to like talk about all of this and like about this whole like superhero stuff. And I feel
Honestly,
like how you're putting across, and you make some good points. I can't lie.
yeah, I really like. I'm just so like. I feel like I can really do something with this just because, like I said, there's people out there that they make podcasts about like different things. They make podcasts about different, like let's say like there's people that have passions about everything. I feel like this is one of my passions. Like, and it doesn't have to be just about Fast and Furious. Like if you guys like have a question about like any cars or like what I drive or what she drives or things like that, like just let us know. Like we're open to anything. Another genre that I really am big about is horror movies. If you guys want to talk about horror movies, we can talk about horror movies, but I'm not as knowledgeable in horror movies as I am with Fast and the Furious, to be honest. But I mean, yeah, man. Like I said, dude, bring anybody on here. Like, even if I don't know you, I'm gonna argue with you just because I'm with it. Like I will say my part and you say your part, and I'm gonna be right most of the time. You know what I'm saying? But but yeah, man. I mean, that's about it for the first episode. If you guys have any questions or comments, um, let us know. We're glad to answer any of them. In the next episode, we'll probably talk about any questions that you guys have, and we'll also talk about I'll probably figure out what we'll talk about in the next episode, like like about some like conspiracies, or like
Mm-hmm.
why specific things happens for specific reasons. But yeah, other than that, guys, uh, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we need to cover because there's comments, questions. We'll do the next. Oh, one more thing. I used to do this in my other podcast. If you guys watched all the way to the end, I want you guys to comment what your favorite car is and why it's your favorite car. So I just so that I know who watched all the way to the end. Um, yeah, I want you guys to comment what is your favorite car and why. My favorite car, probably Supra. I ain't gonna lie. What's your favorite car?
I really like, well, I like the Miata
Yeah, the
and the
Miata.
R
Anything that has anything that has to do with Papa headlights, she really likes it.
and
But
the S1000, but those are kind of expensive.
they are really expensive. Also, guys, we're gonna be doing some more IRL content. We both get our cars. We're in the works of it right now. But yeah, guys. Other than that, like I said, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments, and we'll gladly answer them. But other than that, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Later.